All right, let's get right into it. When we think about a teenager pulling away, we usually picture something loud, right? Like slam doors, shouting matches. But the truth is, the most dangerous kind of distance, it's completely silent. It's when your kid is sitting right there, right across from you at the dinner table, but emotionally, they've already packed their bags and moved out. So today, we're going to unpack exactly why that happens and, more importantly, what you can do to fix it.
Wow, that sentence right there, it just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? See, the big myth is that the parent-teen bond shatters in some huge, dramatic fight. But that's almost never how it happens. It's more like a slow erosion, this quiet chipping away that happens in plain sight during these little moments that you, as the parent, probably won't even remember.
Let's paint a picture. Imagine you're at a family get-together, maybe a BBQ or Thanksgiving, and you make a little joke, a lighthearted jab at your teen's expense. Maybe it's about their messy room or that C they got on their last biology test. And everybody laughs. To you, it's just harmless, right? You're just parenting out loud. But your teen? Did you notice? They just went completely still. Because in that split second, it's not just about embarrassment. Oh no. Their brain is recalibrating. They are learning a huge lesson. When other people are watching, you are not on my team. You are not my protector. Okay, so let's break down the psychology of what's really happening in that moment, because it's fascinating. For a parent, it's nothing, right? A casual comment. But for a teen, that public jab, that little correction, it feels like a profound betrayal. It is literally the moment their brain files away this critical piece of data. The person who is supposed to have my back just sold me out for a cheap laugh.
And this right here, this perfectly shows that massive disconnect. You, the parent, think you're just venting or being real. But what your teen experiences is exposure without consent. You call it parenting out loud, they feel a harsh spotlight. You think you're just being honest. To them, it feels like a live, public performance review that they can't escape. That gap between your intention and their experience, it's a canyon.
Okay, so you might be thinking, why is this such a big deal? Why does it hurt so much? Can't they just take a joke? And the answer is, well, it's not about them being overly sensitive. It really comes down to brain science. And the science explains why this is so damaging. Yeah, you heard that right. See, for a teenager, their brain is literally wired to be hypersensitive to social standing. So public humiliation isn't just some emotional sting. It's way more than that. Brain scans from UCLA actually show that social rejection, like being publicly shamed by your parent, it lights up the exact same parts of the brain as a physical injury. So in their brain, it doesn't just feel like getting hit, it is getting hit. So think of it this way. The first time it happens, it's just a data point, an anomaly. But when it keeps happening, when it becomes a pattern, their nervous system makes a cold, hard, executive decision. It learns a new rule. This person, my parent, is not a consistently safe person. And you have to understand, when the hurt comes from the one person who is supposed to be your safe harbor, man, it just hits different. It cuts so much deeper.
And this is where it gets really dangerous, because what happens next is often completely invisible. See, when a teen decides, I can't trust you with the real me, they don't always rebel in a loud way. Nope. Instead, they start what's called the quiet exit. They shift into maintenance mode.
And I love this quote, "The house gets quiet. It's not maturity, it's damage with good manners." You might actually think things are getting better. The house gets quieter, they start doing their homework without you nagging them, they're all please and thank you, and from the outside you think, wow, they're finally maturing. But what's really happening, often it's just damage that's learned to be polite. They're putting on a performance of okayness for you, and all their real thoughts, their fears, their stories, they're taking them somewhere else.
So, okay, how can you tell if this is happening in your own home? Here are the signs to watch for. Think about it. Have they stopped telling you stories at the dinner table? Maybe because they're worried those stories will become your material for the next family gathering. Do you ever see them start to say something, then they kind of glance over at you and just stop and change the subject? Do they physically tense up when you start talking about them to someone else, even if it's a compliment? And here's the big one. Have they stopped disagreeing with you in public? It's not because they suddenly agree with everything you say. It's because they've learned it's just safer to check out of the conversation entirely.
And listen, the long-term stakes here are incredibly high. We're talking about the future of your relationship. Statistics show that a huge number of adult children are estranged from at least one parent, meaning they have little or no contact. And when you ask them why, it's almost never about one big explosive fight. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. a long, slow history of these small, repeated moments of disrespect. It starts with a quiet teenager, and it can absolutely end with an adult child who only sends you a courtesy text on your birthday.
So this all boils down to one really crucial question. And I want you to ask yourself this honestly. If your kid was in real trouble, I mean really scared or heartbroken or they messed up big time, would you be the first person they call? Because the moment you choose the laugh from the room over the dignity of your child, you get demoted. You stop being their safe harbor, and you become just another authority figure who happens to live in their house.
Okay, so what if you're listening to this and something's clicking? You're recognizing this pattern and you want to fix it. Well, the good news is you can. You absolutely can. But before we get to the solution, we have to talk about the one type of apology that almost always makes things worse.
You know the one I'm talking about. It's the "I'm sorry, but" apology. I'm sorry you felt embarrassed, but I was just trying to be funny. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. That word "but" is an eraser. It completely wipes out everything that came before it. All your teen hears is, you still don't get it, and you're not even trying. You're just defending your own intentions instead of actually acknowledging the impact it had on them, and that doesn't repair anything. It just adds another piece of evidence to their case file that says, warning, not safe to be vulnerable with this person.
So, what does a real repair look like? How do you actually start to fix this? Well, simpler than you might think, but it's also way more powerful. It's all about dropping the excuses, dropping the buts, and focusing completely on the impact of what you did.
Here it is, a 3-step script for a real apology. Step 1, you acknowledge the pattern. You say something like, hey, I've been thinking a lot about the way I talk about you in front of other people. Step 2, you apologize for the impact. No justifications. I realize I haven't always protected your dignity in those moments, and for that, I am truly sorry. And step 3, this is crucial, you commit to a new pattern. From now on, if I have an issue with something, we will talk about it behind closed doors, period. And let me tell you, saying this, it's probably going to feel super awkward. Good. That's how you know it's real.
And really, that's the whole point, isn't it? Your teen doesn't need you to be a perfect parent who never ever messes up. That's impossible. What they need is a credible parent, a parent whose actions actually match their words, a parent who, when they do mess up, and you will, has the integrity to own it completely without making excuses. That is what rebuilds trust.
So, when it all comes down to it, it's about this one simple choice. In every single one of those public moments, you have a choice to make. Are you going to perform for the audience, or are you going to protect your child? Choosing to protect their dignity, especially when it feels awkward or hard, is the single most powerful investment you can possibly make in your relationship for the long haul. So remember this, protect their dignity, and you will save the bond.